Ominous black clouds gathered high above the mountain range, lightning crackling along their edges, illuminating shadows within. The deep pall cast by the shadows shrouded the city and the verdant green waters sect, the air underneath unusually dry and filled with electric promise. The clouds swirled, unnaturally and slowly, the beginnings of a funnel forming as the winds blew erratically. Wisps of moisture and leaves and dust marked the funnel's touchdown position at the other end of the Heaven Ascension Peak, the tallest and steepest mountain in the range. A short distance away on a nearby cliff, the watchers stared with bated breath. Amongst the audience for this unnatural event were numerous famed elders of the sect. The very young Fa Yuan, she who commanded the feared Whispering Blossoms organization, a female-led coterie of individuals who sought to stem the abuse and corruption of the dark sect and set aright malodorous practices that had rooted within the orthodox. The former Buddhist monk Liu Taohua, Heaven's flaming staff, who offered words of wisdom and compassion and the searing punishment of the heavens in equal measure. Where martial cultivators might decline to intervene, the elder might take action, so the layman whispered. No wonder the number of petitioners grew every passing day. The department head of the verdant green waters apothecarists, Li Liu Song, the Jade Hand, the weakest in terms of cultivation among the numerous watchers, but well respected for her outstanding knowledge and skill. With the retirement from public duties by other more senior members, Elder Li was the foremost apothecarist of the sect. Numerous other elders of less fame were present too. Few would give up the opportunity to witness another ascension, though none stood as close as those three, powerful personages whose presence made the heads of lesser sects bend at their very attendance. None were great friends with the one who sat upon the peak, a storied figure in his own right. And one other was there, an honored guest, an interloper, yet one who had returned again and again to the sect, so none gainsayed her presence at this time, nor would they dare, for it was her return this final time, after a long absence, that had been the catalyst for the event. Yang Mu, the merchant princess of the Seven Kingdoms, the golden merchant, whose wealth and network of contacts stretched across thousands of li and multiple kingdoms, even to fabled Nanyue and the frozen north. Even so, she stood apart from the trio, the pale glitter of her robes and her unnatural stillness giving watchers the impression of a silver statue staring at the peak and the individual who floated there. The reason for the commotion, the cause of the cloud bank and the lightning that struck. Longwu Ying, the verdant gatherer, head of the department of wandering gatherers, honored elder of the verdant green water sect, wielder of the bloody Zhen, bearer of the heart of the Jian, and Seven Winds body cultivator. The crowds below were as clear as if he could see them. Sight would have given him less information, in truth, for he could sense the way the winds had to move around their bodies, the way they shifted with each breath and each impatient twitch. Inhale, and the world seeped into his body, the familiar scent of jasmine and tea, of honest sweat and soap beads, of all the basic elements of qi and more. Grass and earth below, the humid moisture of heavy clouds above, twisting metal flame and hot air mingling and pulsing in his hands. Exhale, and with his breath his aura stretched farther, expanding across the mountain peak and the slopes below, the skies above and the clouds that funneled energy down into him. He wove this energy through his body and his aura before directing it to what he clutched. Golden runes floated around him and across his hands, dancing in intricate designs and coming apart as he guided the formation through sheer will alone. Formation flags and stones sunk into the land around him had long ago cracked and broken under the intense heat put out by the item he held. All the while, he tore the energies from the heavens and pulled them to him, encompassing the pulsing heart that sat between his hands. A still beating heart, but one that no longer bled, burning but never shrinking. Every breath, his body wavered, threatening to spill across the barrier of material and immaterial. Every moment, wounds blossomed across his skin as old injuries were revealed and burned away, only for flesh to reform from swirling air. The winds, familiar companions, danced across the peak and brought with them knowledge of far events and nearby tragedies. From the south, the smell of old tar and rotting meat stained the very air as a civil war brewed and a corruption deep within a kingdom spilled forth. From the west drifted desert sands and hot spices, taunting Wu Ying with hints of lands he had never visited. The memory of esoteric chants and benedictions rose in the wind even as a gold